Hello, graduates. How are you doing tonight? Yeah. My name is Stevie Hopkins. I'm honored to be your commencement speaker tonight, but please bear with me. This is my very first commencement speech, and after days and days of YouTube research, I still have no idea what I'm doing. During my many rewrites of this speech, I often ask myself, why me? Was I the university's last choice? In fact, there's absolutely no way I would be here tonight if Dean Fernhall knew that I'm just a 34-year-old man-child who still lives with mom and dad and sells t-shirts for a living. But here I am. And before we get going, here are some commencement cliches that I learned on YouTube. Congratulations, class of 2018. You have completed another milestone in your life, and you are now taking a giant step into your future. You should be extremely proud of yourself for all of the awesomeness that you have achieved. You graduates are the future of our world. And you've got big, big, big plans. These plans could include going to grad school, getting a job, starting a business, starting a podcast, saying screw it, disappointing your parents, and traveling all over the world for a few years. Or you could meet your life partner, move into a 2-bedroom condo, have children, have dog children, join a Tuesday night bowling league, and then years later, retire happily ever after. This all sounds amazing, but more important than these great plans that you have for yourself, you are going to leave your mark on this world, and you are going to change it forever. Even if it's just one Instagram story or vegan burger at a time. But let's get serious, because this is a big day for you. As this journey comes to an end, and you begin the next chapter of your life, you are going to start making some incredible plans for your future. You should absolutely reach for the stars. But I can tell you with 100% certainty, your plans are not going to work out as you expect them to. I promise you that. In fact, you are going to fail more times than you will succeed. But when your plans fail, it does not mean that you yourself are a failure. Everyone learns this fact of life eventually. So let me tell you the story of how I learned this fact of life. It was June 1983. My parents were in their early 30s. They were planning for 2 kids, 2 cats, and a life that you could only describe as the American dream. And then I rolled into this world. I was born with a rare neuromuscular disorder. I would never walk, and I'd require the help of others for the rest of my life. My little sister Annie, only 15 months younger than me, she was born with the same exact disability. Although our lives have been filled with many, many challenges, we did have an exciting childhood and youth with big, big plans of our own, just like you. For example, as a little kid, I really wanted to be a school bus driver. Annie and I even made our very own CB radios out of those red raisin boxes, and we would roll around the neighborhood saying to each other, 10-4, over and out. During middle school, I went through a short phase where I really believed that I was going to become a world-class surgeon and use robotic hands to save my patients. And then in high school, I went through another phase where I dreamed of going to Harvard and becoming a rich and greedy stockbroker. I also listened to a lot of Slipknot, and I drank a lot of Mountain Dew. Those were my dark days. Other big plans I had throughout my life include becoming an architect, becoming a journalist, becoming a web designer, becoming a professional hacker, maybe even a trance DJ, or even an insurance agent, just like my mom and dad. But the truth is, I never saw myself going to college, or getting a job, or starting a family, or really doing anything at all. Even though I had those big, big plans, I didn't believe in myself. I didn't believe in the plans. I was bullied all throughout school. I struggled with depression, and I suffered grief over the loss of my own physical disabilities as I got older, but also the loss of some of my very best friends. In addition to that, I always compared myself to my little sister Annie. Annie always wanted to go to college. She always knew that she was capable of so much more. And she always had big, big, big plans. She lived in the moment. She loved every second of it. And she didn't care what other people thought or said. And unlike me, she did not use her disability as an excuse. So, not to be outdone by my little sister, I did go to college after all. And then a year later, Annie shows up at the same dormitory at the same school. During those 4 years together, because I took an extra fifth year, I didn't want to leave, we got over our sibling rivalry, and we started seeing each other as not only siblings, but best friends. And then after we graduated in 2006, I went home, joined my family business, started a few businesses of my own, and Annie took a different path. She moved right here to University Village, and she joined the ranks of your very own AHS to get her graduate degrees in disability studies and community health. I would visit her almost every weekend at her apartment on Ashland and Taylor. We would pig out on Pompeii. We'd get a little bit tipsy at Hot Eyes. Love them tater tots. We had so much fun together, and we started making plans to create our own business, move in together, and change the world. And then, like many, many times before in my life, my plans changed. In 2009, January, Annie became sick. She was admitted to the hospital for what we thought was a very minor procedure. Throughout her stay, we listened to the new Katy Perry album, the new Kanye album. We joked with the nurses, we made fun of the doctors, and we ordered in our favorite foods. Even though we were in the hospital, we were having fun, and we were planning our future together. What we did not know was that the doctors made a mistake. They did the procedure wrong, and Annie was very, very ill. On January 20th, 2009, my sister Annie lost her life. On that day, I lost my future roommate, my business partner, my sister, and I lost my very, very best friend. All of my plans changed. My life changed. Nothing would ever be the same for me again. It was time for me to make changes in my life. Right then and there, I decided to start living like Annie lived, living life for the moment. I stopped making excuses, and I started chasing my dreams. With this newfound attitude, I started the business that her and I always talked about starting together. Our business grew extremely quickly, allowing me to travel and meet people all over the country. It has given me both personal and career opportunities that I have never, ever expected. Even though I have found happiness and I have reached many of my personal milestone goals, that doesn't mean that my challenges have stopped. It also doesn't mean that I have stopped planning. Instead, I have a new life perspective. I know that we must make plans, but we must also be willing to fail. We need to think big and we need to take risks, but we also need to be willing to adapt. This is because life is short and it is very chaotic. Anything can happen or change in an instant. And in this limited time we have here, we need to fill our lives with the people and the activities that we enjoy and we love. It is from this enjoyment that we get the motivation, the momentum, and the energy to overcome our personal challenges and meet our personal goals. My advice to you graduates is to embrace yourself. Embrace who you are right now. Stop comparing yourself to others and making excuses. Ignore the plans that others have made for you and start making your own plans. Throughout life, keep educating yourself and educate those around you. Adapt your plans and your expectations based on what you have learned, both from your successes, but also your failures. Lastly, one more piece of advice. Leave here empowered by what you have accomplished and what you know in your heart that you will and can achieve. When you reach for the stars, be humble and be willing to receive those stars. You deserve a bright and beautiful life. If you follow this advice, there's a chance that you may find yourself on this stage, just like me one day, wondering, why the hell was I chosen to give this speech? Class of 2018, congratulations and love life, okay?